Hello again, everyone. This is another lesson in the New Testament is Fake series. This is lesson number 136. My lesson is titled Every Moving Thing. And I will be talking about the food laws and talking about what we should eat, but more focusing on the opening chapters of Genesis and Genesis like 2 and 3 and Genesis 9, where Noah was told to eat many different things. And the reason why I'm focusing on this lately is because it's a part of my way to show that the animal sacrifices and flesh sacrifices was nothing that we should have been getting into, and not talking about all the other Eastern religions that talk about don't eat meat and animals, as someone tried to accuse me of that. But that's just their last grab at like they say, a dying man will grab onto a straw, because they can't really show down my teachings. They just can't. So it was just a way to make people think that I'm going over into Eastern religions. Pretty soon you're going to hear I'm into Kundalini. And I'm not teaching any of those things. So that person was just trying to throw people off, just trying to curse me up because they can't win at my arguments. So they're trying to make people think I'm getting into Hinduism and so on. So to accuse me of that, that's a person that doesn't really know properly the things I believe. But they are afraid of what I'm teaching with the New Testament is Fake series. So you must try to hit at me in any way you can. I'm not worried about those kinds of things, because I don't function according to the knowledge of the tree of good and evil like those people do. People who are trying to stop other people from teaching, yet they say this is a free world. Those are the people who have something to hide and who are protecting some other agenda that is, quote unquote satanic, which they are a part of the system that made that up. Because as I've told you before in my Satan series, there's no such thing as a real Satan who's some master demon or master fallen angel. Satan in general is speaking about people doing satanic things. But we know that in the scriptures, the creator is spoken of as well, or / the God of Israel is spoken of as being Satan sometimes. And I'm going to talk about that some more in terms of the way he operates, which seems a little bit odd. But as I grow and I learn, I'm looking at things in much more powerful ways than I did when I was in the religion of Christianity. Now, my lesson here now is striking down Calvary some more, as I go on to show that since I'm not dealing with the other Eastern religions and whatever they think about food, although maybe in the future I might mention something about them, I'm really talking about how the Church of Israel with their high priests were eating meat and linking the eating of meat at times with sacrifices of animals. And then they also went on to sacrificing people, which is their humans or children, and sacrificing their brother on Calvary, supposedly according to the New Testament. And so I'm tying in the whole meat eating with animal and human sacrifices to show that something is wrong with Calvary. Because while the sacrifices were going on in ancient Israel in the scriptures, they usually did those sacrifices and they ate as well. And I found that to be sometimes a link with some other nations from ancient times who ate the meat that they were also sacrificing to their gods. And so I'm just looking at Israel doing that, eating of the meat that they also sacrificed unto their God, and showing that that sacrifice was just a precursor to the bigger meat sacrifice at Calvary, which was with their so-called Jesus. And he did say at some point, drink my blood and eat my flesh. And that's going to be one sweet lesson when I get to that. I mean, I'm just, oh man, I'm telling you, like when I get to that lesson, man. But, because I was just studying some stuff on that this morning, but I don't want to get thrown off on that right here. But Genesis chapter 1 and verse 29. Now, I'm going to read it from, I got 3 Bibles here plus a commentary. Well, I guess 4 Bibles, because one is going to be from the KJV on my phone. Genesis 1 and 29. well, first of all, Genesis 1 verse 11, it says, and the Creator said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so. And on my way to dealing with the sacrifices and building up to Calvary in these few lessons on sacrifices and meat eating, I'm trying to strike down the Noah, which I guess is part of what some people call in Judaism Noahide laws. I'm trying to strike down what Torah people and Christians think about eating meat, and the Apostle Paul as well, because they said God told Noah that he can eat meat. So I'm striking that down, because in order to put out my views on in the New Testament this fake series to fight against Calvary, I'm removing the legs upon which Calvary stands on. See, sometimes, at first rather, I thought that Calvary just stood on just the law in a general sense, and grace and law, and we're trying to fight that. And then I said, oh, it's more stuff about what's written in the Torah, and I was coming at it like that. But now I find that I have to delve into a lot more different things to remove the legs one by one to topple this Calvary. And so if I look here now in dealing with this meat eating that leads up to Calvary, as you must drink my blood and eat my flesh, just like the Israelites with their high priest ate the flesh of the animals, ate the flesh of the lamb. So now you got to eat this Christ, but they made that be in like a spiritual or esoteric kind of way, so that he can speak like that to hide from you the truth and the reality of the deception. The truth is that Christ saying, drink my blood and eat my flesh, if it's a spiritual / esoteric kind of expression, it is an expression that is built upon the physical meat eating of the children of Israel on their high holy days, which they should not have been doing, as I'm showing in these few lessons dealing with meat eating. So then, if they should not have been eating the meat, and I just uploaded a video last night about even the World Health Organization showing that meat eating is not the best for humans worldwide, they're saying, and they're showing that with their facts and figures, and they've even put out might I say, like a whole dossier or whatever you might want to call it, with how eating with no meat, or I think at some points they said little meat, is not the best. Sorry, let me correct that. Eating more plant-based food is the best for you and prevents even cancer and so on. So can you imagine Israelite nation and high holy priests who are supposed to know what the Creator wants? They are eating the meat of this lamb and the ox and so on. They're eating like this lamb, all this meat, and eating in cancer into their holy body or their set-apart body. So they're eating before the Lord, like some of your Hebrew Israelite camps tell you, that you must eat it on Passover or certain high holy days. You must, because God said so. God is telling you, don't eat from that particular tree because you will die. Yet God is telling you on your high holy days to eat cancerous or cancer-forming meat from animals that will let you die. Now, can somebody think through that for themselves instead of trying to ask me questions about that? Can't you just think? Don't eat from the tree or you will die. So the Creator is telling Adam, I don't want you to die. So it seems like Adam was not supposed to die. You're going to die. But now, meat eating is linked to colon problems and cancer that kills. But the Creator is going to tell Noah and tell the children of Israel to eat the meat that causes cancer that will kill you, so that you will die. So now this schizophrenic God of the Torah, who to me is not the Creator, because that kind of God cannot be the Creator as far as I'm seeing, reading the scriptures now for myself. But this God of Israel says at first, who says later, actually Malachi 3:6, he does not change. He basically communicates to Adam, I don't want you to die, but then later on he tells Israel, I want you to die by eating this meat that causes cancer. Very strange. But notice in Genesis 1 verse 11, it says the herb yielding seed and the fruit yielding seed after his kind, whose seed is in itself. After his kind means it will perpetuate, it will keep going on and on. After its kind, you don't get what that means? It's not going to change, it's not going to stop. Your food will continue like that. So there's no need to have a change in it later on to say, no, it'll come off the boat and it's going to change, because now the thing that has seed growing in itself from the plants and so on is not going to be your only food. It's going to be from the beasts of the earth. There's no after its kind in that. Let's look at Genesis 1:29 and 1:30 as well. And actually, verse 12, Genesis 1:12 says the earth brought forth this stuff, herb yielding seed after its kind, showing you that after he said it in verse 11, it still continued in verse 12, because like I said, it continues, because the food you're eating is supposed to continue. There's no end to it for there to be a change coming later on. So the so-called God destroying the earth to stop up all your food, so now you got to eat the meat, is not built on the first precept that I'm seeing here, where food is concerned, where food continues. Where food continues. When I get to the lesson on Noah, I can't deal with the flood fully, because I need a lot more time to even attempt to be an expert on the flood, whether the flood was global or not, but I've been studying that slowly. It's going to take me a whole probably year or two to get up to speed on that. But at least with my own thoughts, I figured out, without reading all these versions of Bible and commentaries and so on, I figured out that there is a way to see the Torah that shows that Noah did not get any instruction to eat animals and to eat meat. I'm going to show you that when I deal with the flood of Noah. So all the people talking about he told Noah to do this, no, the Creator would never do that. I will show that, and I'm happy to show it when it comes time, because I'm still stuck at Genesis chapter 5, which I should really be digging into. It's like I can't believe, like, it's been from last year, maybe 6 months now. I'm stuck between Genesis 1 and chapter 4. Hard to move on in trying to read the scriptures to myself. But anyway, verse 29, and the Creator said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you shall be for meat. So it seems like the stuff he's eating is these herbs and so on is supposed to have fruit that has seed inside of it. And my daughter brought home a book from school probably a year and a half ago with seeds, and it's funny with the fruits. It's funny, the stuff that they put in the book to teach the children now, more and more it seems, are coming to show the seeds in fruits that you don't normally see. But the fruit that is around you, that's available around you where you live, whether in nature where you live or in the supermarkets, those ones don't have seeds in it, so that children will now grow up to not expecting grapes to have seeds, because grapes is one of the stuff that you find with seeds in it. So more and more, so now the children will grow up to expecting seed to be in things that you don't normally see, but fruits that you see normally should not have seeds in it, because I would have learned that in school. So she doesn't know. So I had to teach my daughter the grapes should have. So I bought grapes and showed her the grapes with seed, but they're getting harder to find. This stuff should have seed in it. That's what the Creator said. So we know somebody's moving the seeds out of their fruits, and like the grapes now, they're growing them just from a culture, so they don't need to be growing from seeds. They just wet the thing on the culture, whatever, and it just grows out of it like that. Just really, really. Verse 30 from Genesis 1, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. Notice when it comes to the beasts now, which is just an older way of saying animals, when it comes to the animal, he talks about it differently now. The fruit yielding thing with food with that has a seed in itself, he gave to the man. And he made man male and female, right? So he gave to the man. But when he gets to the beasts, he says he's giving them, and the things that creep and so on, he's given them herb for meat, but he never said right there that their meat has seed in it. Notice the difference? Subtle difference. Similar kind of wording, but the seed is dropped out when it comes to the beasts or to the animals. Look at chapter 3, verse 18 from Genesis. Now after the curse, now thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. So here now, this God is now telling the man to eat the herb of the field, so to eat like the animals, because now he's eating the herb that does not have the seeds in it, the fruit-bearing seed in it, whose seed is in itself. So that's a curse. So that's instruction that's coming after a curse. So you see how now man is going down to the level now where he's going to eat like the beast. So his curse was to be death, but somehow his food is being affected. But maybe that's how he's going to die. But at least you know that that was not original instruction. That was stuff that came after a curse. So if you're trying to get out of a curse, wouldn't you get back to what's original? Original instruction? If somebody curses you, and the Creator's curse would be the greatest of all curses, like if someone sabotages you and so on, you get kidnapped and you put into slavery, or you get captured and you get locked into some prison on the other side of the earth where your family will never even know where you're at and so on, and you're just locked up all the time and whatever, and they're working you like crazy, and you're there 30 years, you can't get out, and you finally find a way to get out. Aren't you going to take that way and escape? But the Creator gives you the greatest curse of all. You're going to die. And you find a way to get out by going back to his original instructions, and you don't do that? Wouldn't that more please the Creator that you say you believe in? That you are so much like him, where he made you in his image, that you are not even willing to live in a curse. The Creator put a curse on you, and you're going to say, yes, I love this. Even sometimes the Most High putting the Israelites in a curse, saying, look, don't try to run on to Egypt and so on. Stay right where I put you. You're trying to go to your friends for help and so on. Other times it's like, look, stay right here, go there and go and fulfill my captivity because it's a punishment. If you don't follow my word for your punishment, it's going to be worse than you're going to die. But at least if you go with my curse on you, you'll at least live through it, although you're going to suffer some punishment, but you live through it. So he's saying, follow my instructions. But even then, the Israelites are still trying to find their way out of a curse. Because if you are like the Creator, you should always be trying to get out of a curse. Because the Creator is never cursed. The Creator does not lock himself into anything that he can't deal with, can't get out of. So if you are in the image of the Creator, shouldn't you be trying to get out of a curse as well? Because then he's going to see himself reflected in you. That's why the Most High had to break down the children of Israel to give them curses. Because he knows they will break out of it. Now look at Genesis 9:3. Now Noah apparently comes off the ark, and he says now that apparently, or the editors gave him some kind of new rule, that God gave him a new rule that he can eat the beasts or the animals that have two eyes like him. Can you imagine looking at something with two eyes like you and you're going to eat that, and you're an Israelite high priest and you're pushing the meat in your mouth in front of all the Israelites, and then they're doing the same thing as well? Biting this meat that has two eyes in it. And because it looks so scary and unholy to you, it doesn't look set apart with this thing with his head right there. So you chop off the head and get rid of it, so you can eat the rest before the Lord your God, the rest of its body. Because every time you look at those two eyes, it looks like something is communicating to you that something is seriously wrong with this. But this formed the backdrop to the sacrifices that led up to Calvary, where another flesh sacrifice could take place on Golgotha, the place of the skull. Again, skull, a death place again. It's like all the salvation stuff just needs to be dealing with some kind of dead body. So Genesis 9:3, every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. Now, that's just a change from what the Creator said to him at first. Let me